everybody. This is Pastor Sherman, and these are the parables of Christ. I want to welcome everybody to the broadcast today. We're really excited about what God is going to be doing today, and especially on this broadcast. Today, we're going to be in the book of Luke, so I'm very excited about that. And some of you, this might be the first time you're actually checking us out. I'm Pastor Sherman Ray. I'm over at Sagestone Church here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we've been going through the parables of Jesus Christ for like the last couple of weeks, and we decided we were going to share them with you even more on a personal level here. So I'm just so excited that you're able to join us here. As I said, we're in the book of Luke today. We're going to be in Luke 7, verses 44 through 43, and these are the we're going to be talking about the two debtors. Yeah, it's going to be the two debtors. Very excited about that. And as I was doing a study on this, I found out even more information. So we'll do another one of these probably next year. You'll even bring in more information, because the more we study about it, the more we understand what was going on at that time. So let's go ahead and read it. Luke 7, verses 40 through 43, the two debtors. And Jesus answered and said to him, Simon, I'm gonna back up here in just a second here, folks. And Jesus said to him, Simon, I have something to say to you. So he said, Teacher, say it. There was a certain creditor who had two debtors. One owed 500 denarii, the other 50 denarii. And when they had nothing with which to repay, he freely forgave them both. Wow, that's pretty cool. Tell me, therefore, which of them will love him more? This is Jesus talking to Simon. Simon answered and said, I suppose the one who forgave more. And he said to him, you rightly have judged. So very cool. So you could back up in this story even more to get a little more context. We're going to back up just a little bit. Who is Jesus talking to? Jesus is talking to a man by the name of Pharisee. The name of Simon. If you back up in chapter 7, verse 2, let's go back to verse 36. He said, then one of the Pharisees asked him, Jesus, to eat with him, and he went to the Pharisee's home and sat down to eat. Okay? Pretty big deal. So if a Pharisee in those days asked you to come back to his home to eat, it was a big deal. Normally what they would do is they would anoint your head with oil. They would probably wash your feet, with water. In this case, that did not happen. Okay? Why didn't that happen? Well, as we probably know, Jesus was already unliked by the ruling class of those days. And why is that? Well, it's because Jesus was shaking the apple cart. He really was. And so by not, washing Jesus' feet, he was kind of giving Jesus a snub. And so we go on, okay? Chapter 7, we're in verse 37 now. And behold, a woman in the city who was a sinner, wow, when she saw that Jesus sat at the table in the Pharisee's house, brought an alabaster flask of fragrant oil. Wow. And stood at his feet behind him weeping, and she began to wash his feet with her tears. So, number 2 here. So now we get to the second part. It was bad enough that this woman was a sinner. But number 2, that she came into the Pharisee's home was verboten. It just did not happen. But this also happened. Not only did the Jews didn't mess with sinful women, but they wouldn't even be in the same room with them. And this woman began to wash his feet with her hair. She let her hair down. Another thing that happened, and she washed washed Jesus' feet with her tears. Notice what did not happen in verse 41, 42. The Pharisee did not provide oil for Jesus' head. He did not provide water for his feet to wash his feet. And yet the sinful woman did. Verse 38, we say it again. She stood at his feet behind him, weeping, and she began to wash his feet with her tears, and wiped them with her hair of her head. She kissed his feet and anointed them with fragrant oil. Now when the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he spoke to himself, saying, this man, get this man, if he were a prophet, would know who and what manner of woman this is and who is touching him, for she is a sinner. Okay? Interesting how the Pharisee is looking at the woman who's the sinner, and he's not looking at himself who is the sinner. He's saying if Jesus is a prophet, and he knows Jesus is a prophet, he knows what Jesus has been doing. He's saying, Jesus, if you know who this woman is, why would you let her do this? But Jesus not only was a prophet, but Jesus was God himself. So when the Pharisee invited him back to his home, the Pharisee already knew Jesus was a prophet. He knew he was in the company of somebody who was to be revered, somebody who was very special. And yet, he said nothing to him. He did nothing to him. He didn't anoint his head with oil. The parable of the two creditors is Jesus' way of talking once again to the Pharisees. He's saying, guys, guess what? One person owed this much. Another person owed this much. Who should be more grateful? The woman the Pharisee who is probably here on this level, or the woman who is a sinner who is at this level? Who should be more grateful? And the Pharisee, it went right by the Pharisee. He didn't even see it. He didn't even see it go by him. Jesus was letting him know that he is the creditor. He is the one who's in control of it. He's the one who everybody owes everything to, and yet he will forgive them both. And that's the story of the debtor, the two debtors. Jesus was trying to get to the Pharisees and the people of the time and letting them know that he is the one who can forgive all sins. He's the one who can forgive all the debts. And as a result of that, everyone should be happy. Everybody should love him the most, should love him more. Okay? Wow. And next time we do this, folks, we'll find out even more nuggets that the Lord is going to give us. But we all owe Jesus a debt we cannot owe. Whether it's 50 denarius or it's 500 denarii. Whether it's one day's wage or it's a year's wage. Whether it's a small debt or a large debt. We all owe Jesus a debt we cannot owe, or we cannot repay him. And we should be so grateful to him for that. Wow, isn't that good stuff? This has been Pastor Sherman Ray for we've been going through the parables of Christ, and I hope that you're getting something else. I really do. I pray that you do. If so, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Love us, folks. That to let everybody know about that we're spreading the gospel and we're telling everybody about Jesus Christ. I want to thank you once again, folks, for being a part of the show. We will see you again next time on the parables of Christ. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye-bye.